Weave your truth. Have you ever noticed how hard it is now to hear yourself think? Not because you are empty, not because you have nothing inside you, but because the world has become so loud that even silence feels like it has static running through it. You wake up, and before your soul has even arrived fully into the room, your hand reaches for the phone. Messages, notifications, news, opinions, other people's lives, other people's fear, other people's outrage, other people's versions of success, beauty, happiness, morality, truth. And before you have even asked yourself, how do I feel today? The world has already answered for you. It has told you what to worry about, what to compare yourself to, what to desire, what to be angry at, what to buy, what to believe, what to become. And slowly, almost invisibly, we stop living from the inside out. We begin living from the outside in. We become shaped by what we consume, pulled by what we scroll, bent by what we fear, tangled in invisible threads that do not belong to us. And maybe that is why so many people feel strangely disconnected. Not just tired, not just busy, but disconnected. Disconnected from nature, disconnected from their body, disconnected from their intuition, disconnected from the quiet voice inside that used to know things before the world taught them to doubt it. Because somewhere along the way, we traded the ancestral web for a digital cage. And the strange thing is, the cage does not always look like a cage. Sometimes it looks like entertainment. Sometimes it looks like productivity. Sometimes it looks like staying informed. Sometimes it looks like connection. But if something constantly pulls you away from yourself, if something keeps your nervous system buzzing, if something makes you feel like you are always behind, always lacking, always needing to become something else, then maybe it is not connecting you. Maybe it is consuming you. And this is where the old wisdom begins to whisper. Because long before algorithms tried to predict us, long before screens learned how to hold our attention, long before modern life became a river of endless input, our ancestors understood something very different about life. They understood that human beings are not separate fragments floating through chaos. They understood that life is woven, that every choice has weight, every thought has direction. Every action sends a thread forward. Every wound left unhealed can become a knot. Every moment of awareness can become a new pattern. In Norse tradition, there is an idea often connected to this mystery of fate, consequence, and becoming. The Web of Wyrd. A web of threads, a hidden pattern, a tapestry of life where past, present, and future are not separate rooms, but woven strands touching one another. And whether you see it as myth, metaphor, symbol, or spiritual truth, there is something deeply human in it. Because we all know what it feels like to be tangled. We know what it feels like to repeat the same patterns and wonder, why do I keep ending up here? We know what it feels like to react in a way we do not understand. To sabotage something we wanted, to avoid something we know would help us, to carry old pain into new rooms, to meet the same lesson wearing different faces. And when that happens, it can feel like life is happening to us, like we are trapped in some invisible design. But what if the pattern is not here to punish you? What if the pattern is trying to show you where the thread needs attention? In the old Norse imagination, fate was not simply a straight road laid out in front of you. It was more like a tapestry. And at the roots of the great world tree, Yggdrasil, the Norns were said to weave the fates of beings, Wyrd, what has been, Verdandi, what is becoming, Skuld, what may come, the past, the present, the becoming. And I love that word, becoming, because the future is not just something waiting for you at the end of the road. It is being shaped by the thread in your hand right now. Not perfectly, not magically, not in a way that removes pain, challenge, grief, or the unknown, but in the very real sense that your inner state affects your choices. Your choices affect your actions affect your patterns, and your patterns shape the life you experience. So no, you are not controlling every event in the universe, but you are always participating in the weaving. And that is where your power begins. Because if you believe you are only a victim of chaos, you stop touching the thread. You stop asking what can be changed. You stop asking what can be healed. You stop asking what part of you is still living from an old wound. And the loom keeps moving anyway. Life does not pause just because we are unconscious. The thread still moves through our hands. The question is, are we awake while we weave? Because every day we are weaving. When you speak to yourself with cruelty, you weave one kind of thread. When you speak to yourself with patience, you weave another. When you avoid the feeling, the knot tightens. When you turn toward it gently, the thread begins to loosen. When you spend hours feeding your mind with fear, comparison, and noise, you weave that vibration into your inner world. And when you choose silence, breath, truth, reflection, you begin weaving something different. This is not about blame. This is not about saying every difficult thing in your life is your fault. That is not wisdom. That is spiritual pressure dressed up as enlightenment. There are things that happen to us that we did not choose. There are wounds we inherited. There are environments that shaped us before we had language. There are losses, betrayals, and burdens that arrive without permission. But healing begins when we realize that even if we did not choose the original thread, we can choose how we tend to it now. That is the difference between victimhood and sovereignty. Victimhood says, "This knot is who I am." Sovereignty says, "This knot is something I can learn to understand." And that is where shadow work enters the loom. Because the shadow is not some monster hiding in the corner of your soul. The shadow is simply the part of you that has been pushed out of sight. The feelings you were told were too much. The anger you swallowed. The grief you had to rush past. The needs you learned to hide. The truth you buried because it was not safe to speak it. The shadow is the abandoned room inside the house of you. And when we refuse to enter that room, we do not become free of it. We begin living around it. We build our whole life avoiding one locked door. And then we wonder why we feel stuck. But the shadow does not want to destroy you. It wants to be witnessed. It wants someone to come back with a lantern and say, "I see you now. I understand why you were hidden, but you do not have to run the whole house from the dark anymore." That is shadow work, not punishment, not shame, not digging yourself apart. It is the sacred act of returning to the parts of yourself that were left behind. And when you look at it through the image of the Web of Wyrd, shadow work becomes the untangling of the knots. Because every unprocessed wound can become a thread that pulls. You may think you are choosing freely, but an old fear may be tugging beneath the surface. You may think you are reacting to this moment, but sometimes you are reacting to a moment from 10 years ago. You may think you are afraid of the future, but sometimes you are afraid of the past repeating itself. And this is why awareness is so powerful. Because the moment you see the thread, you are no longer blindly pulled by it. You can pause, you can breathe, you can ask, is this me, or is this an old wound speaking? Is this choice coming from truth or fear? Am I weaving the life I want, or repeating the pattern I know? And sometimes that one pause changes everything. Not because life becomes perfect, but because you stop abandoning yourself inside the pattern. And this is where modern life becomes so dangerous to the soul. Because shadow work requires silence. Not perfect silence, not monk on a mountain silence, but enough silence to hear the subtle things. Enough stillness to notice the pattern before you repeat it. Enough inner space to feel the difference between intuition and anxiety. Enough quiet to recognize your own voice beneath the noise. And what does the modern world do? It fills every gap. Standing in a queue? Phone? Waiting for the kettle? Phone? Sitting with discomfort? Phone? Feeling lonely? Phone? Feeling uncertain? Phone? Feeling anything at all? Phone. And I am not saying this from judgment, because most of us do it. The world has trained us to reach outward the moment something rises inward. But the problem is, if you never sit with yourself, you never meet the weaver. You only meet the distractions. You only meet the noise. You only meet the version of you that has been shaped by everyone else's threads. And then one day, you look at your life and think, why does this not feel like mine? That question is important. That question is a doorway. Because maybe your life does not feel like yours, because too many hands have been on the loom. Too many opinions, too many fears, too many expectations, too many old beliefs, too many digital voices whispering, shouting, selling, pulling. And beneath all of that, there you are, still there. The real you has not disappeared. It has just become quiet. And sometimes the journey back to yourself is not about adding more routines, more advice, more content, more information, more identities. Sometimes the journey back begins by removing what is drowning you out. A digital fast does not have to be dramatic. You do not have to throw your phone into the sea and move into a forest, although let's be honest, some days that does sound strangely tempting. It can begin with 1 hour. 1 hour where you do not consume anyone else's mind. No scrolling, no checking, no absorbing the emotional weather of the internet. Just you, a cup of tea, a candle, a notebook, a window, a walk, your breath. And at first, it may feel uncomfortable, because silence has a way of revealing how noisy we are inside. You may feel restless, you may feel bored, you may feel emotions rise that you did not invite. But that does not mean you are doing it wrong. That means the inner room is opening. That means the loom is becoming visible. That means the threads are finally still enough for you to see them. And if sitting in silence feels too much, start with a mirror. Not to judge your face, not to pick yourself apart, not to look for flaws, but to look at the weaver, to sit in front of your own reflection and gently ask, what thread am I carrying today? What knot am I ready to understand? What part of me have I been ignoring? And you do not need to force an answer. Sometimes the body answers first, a tight chest, a heavy stomach, a lump in the throat, tears that arrive before words. The body often knows where the knots are. And if you stay gentle, if you do not rush to fix yourself, if you do not turn healing into another performance, something begins to soften. You realize you were never broken. You were tangled. And tangled things do not need hatred. They need patience. Think about that. When a necklace gets knotted, you do not free it by yanking it harder. You place it down. You slow your hands. You look carefully. You loosen one tiny place at a time. The self is the same. You do not heal by attacking yourself. You heal by becoming safe enough to tell the truth. And sometimes the truth is simple. I am tired. I am scared. I miss who I used to be. I do not know who I am becoming. I keep choosing what hurts because it is familiar. I want peace, but peace feels unfamiliar to my nervous system. These truths are not failures. They are threads. And when you name them, you begin to reclaim them. This is why the present moment matters so much. Because Wyrd may hold what has been. The past may have already woven certain colors into the cloth. But Verdandi, the present, is the thread in your hand. This moment, this breath, this choice, this tiny decision not to abandon yourself again and scold the becoming is listening. The future is not fixed stone, it is responsive. It bends toward the patterns you practice. If you practice self-betrayal, that becomes a thread. If you practice awareness, that becomes a thread. If you practice fear every morning by feeding your mind panic before breakfast, that becomes a thread. If you practice grounding, discernment, and inner truth, that becomes a thread too. And little by little, the tapestry changes. Not overnight. Not in some shiny instant transformation where you suddenly become a completely different person and never struggle again. Real healing is quieter than that. It is the moment you notice the old pattern and pause. It is the moment you choose not to answer the message in the same reactive energy. It is the moment you realize the fear is old. It is the moment you put the phone down and let your own soul speak first. It is the moment you stop asking, "What does the world want me to be?" and begin asking, "What is true inside me?" That is weaving. That is power. Not loud power, not dominating power, not the kind of power that needs to prove itself, but the deep, ancient kind. The kind that sits quietly at the loom and says, "I know what I am making now." And this is why the Valkyrie symbol matters here too. Because a Valkyrie, in the old stories, was a chooser, a figure who moved between worlds, between life and death, between what remains and what is carried forward. And symbolically, that is what we are all asked to become within ourselves. The chooser, the one who decides what lives on inside us and what must be laid down. Which beliefs still deserve breath? Which patterns are no longer allowed to lead? Which fears have mistaken themselves for wisdom? Which old identities have served their purpose? Which threads are ready to be released? Because not every part of you is meant to come into the next version of your life. Some parts were survival tools. Some parts were armor. Some parts were built in pain. Some parts were necessary once, but are now too heavy to keep wearing. And there comes a moment in every healing journey where you realize you are not just discovering yourself, you are choosing yourself, thread by thread, breath by breath, pattern by pattern. You are deciding what kind of inner world you are willing to live inside, because your internal state is not separate from your external reality. The way you see yourself changes what you accept. What you accept changes what you choose. What you choose changes what you build. What you build becomes the life around you. So when we say your inner state weaves your outer reality, we are not saying you can control every storm. We are saying you can become the lighthouse inside it. You can become the steady flame that does not hand its power to every passing wind. You can learn to notice when the digital world is pulling you into someone else's web. You can learn to step back, to breathe, to ask, is this mine? Is this true? Is this the thread I want to carry? And sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is turn the screen off and come back to your own nervous system. Come back to the room. Come back to your hands. Come back to the body that has carried you through every version of yourself. Come back to the breath that has never abandoned you. Come back to the quiet place where your soul still knows your name. Because you are not here to be dragged through life by invisible threads. You are here to wake up inside the weaving. You are here to notice the pattern. You are here to untangle what was never truly you. You are here to remember that the past may have shaped the cloth, but it does not get to hold the loom forever. And maybe that is the real meaning of reclaiming your thread. It is not pretending the knots were never there. It is not denying the pain. It is not bypassing the shadow with pretty words and candlelight. It is looking at the whole tapestry, the dark threads, the golden threads, the frayed edges, the places where life pulled too hard, and saying, "This is mine. I can work with this. I can make something honest from this." Because the goal was never to become untouched by life. The goal is to become conscious within it, to stop weaving from fear without knowing, to stop repeating old patterns and calling them fate, to stop letting a noisy world decide the shape of your inner life, and to begin, slowly, gently, bravely, weaving from truth. So tonight, or tomorrow, or whenever this finds you, give yourself one quiet moment, not for the algorithm, not for productivity, not to become a better version of yourself for anyone else's approval, but simply to return. Put the phone down. Let the noise fall away. Sit with the weaver. Ask yourself what thread is in your hand. And remember, you are not powerless in the web. You are not only the wound. You are not only the pattern. You are not only the past. You are the one who can see the thread. And the one who sees the thread can begin to weave differently. So reclaim your thread. Untangle what is ready, release what no longer belongs, and weave your truth. As always, this has been Valkyrie. Thanks for stopping by. Until next time, be kind to yourself and others. Lanterns up, people.